Hello everybody, my name is Ryan, and in this lesson I'm going to show you how to undo changes using Git. So let's start by just doing a Git status, and you can see my working directory is clean. Now I'm going to pick a file to edit, and I'm going to make some changes to this file. That's quite a drastic change. Deleted 4 different import lines. So if we do a Git status, you can see it's picking it up as being modified, and it gives me 2 options. I can either add the file to the staging area to get ready for commit, or I can discard the changes in the working directory. So that's exactly what I want to do. I actually want to discard the changes. So by doing a git checkout, we can actually copy the file back from the repository and overwrite the one in the working directory. So we type git checkout -- and the file that we want to get back from the repository. The -- just simply means it's going to be a file, not a branch, because the checkout command is also used to check out branches. So now if we do a git status again, you can see that my directory is clean again. And if we go and edit that file userdb, the import lines are back again. So it's basically reverted the changes from the one that's in the repository. Very useful. Okay, the next thing that we can do in terms of undoing is we can unstage changes from our staging area. So let's say, for example, I edit this file and I just remove the author. I'll just put here, just change the author. So if I do a git status, picks it up as being changed. If you want to see the changes that were actually made, just do a git diff on that file, and you can see the author was changed. So let's say I'm ready now to stage this, so I'll git add, and I'll say guest.py. If I do a git status, it tells me that that file has been modified and it's ready to be committed. So if I want to remove it from the staging area, I can just use this command. So we say git reset, and we're going to reset back to a specific commit. Now head always points to the latest commit within this branch, so it defaults to that. So I can actually just type git reset head and then the name of the file that I want to remove from the staging area. And now if I do a git status, it just tells me it's a modified file again. And then from there I can decide to either check it out completely from the repository, or I can add it back to the staging area again. So that's unstaging a file from the staging area. The next thing that we can do is we can amend a commit. So let me just go ahead and commit this quickly. Remember, it's always good to have a good commit message. So I'll just say git commit change author to Joe Soap in guest.py. And then if I do a git status, working directory is clean. So let's do a git log and just have a look at the last 3 commits. So you can see that I changed the author to Joe Soap in guest.py. So what we could do, let's say we realized we needed to also change the author in another file, but we don't want to make a separate commit for that. We want to just put it into the existing commit, into the last commit. So we call that amending our commit. And we can only do that to our very last commit. So I'm going to pick another file, let's say config.py, And I'm also going to change the author to Joe Soap. So now if I do a git status, it tells me it's modified. If I do a git add to stage it, and then I need to commit that. Now if I just do a commit and I say change author to Joe Soap in config.py, that is going to make a completely separate commit, a completely new commit over and above the one that I already had here. So to just overwrite this last commit, to amend to it basically, I'm going to add another option to my command. So I'm going to add a -- amend. And now the message will have to be a combination of the two. So I'm going to have to say change author to Joe Soap in guest.py and config.py. So now if we do a git log and we look at the last two commits, you can see that it has in fact amended this last commit. And then the message has changed, and if I do a git show on it, I can see that both config.py had the author changed as well as guest.py had the author changed. Okay, so anytime you've done a commit and maybe you've done it by accident, you want to amend to that commit, you can do so. The one thing to note about amending a commit is that the checksum does change, because obviously now there's a new file. Even if the message changes, the checksum will change. So this was B479 and the new one is 7E. That's definitely changed. Okay, the next thing that we can do is we can revert a file back to a version in a previous commit. So let's just clear the screen and do a git git log. Now I can actually just misspell one line correctly. Okay, so there's some nice summary of the commits that were made. And then what I can do is, let's say that I want to recover this file called findfile.py, which I've deleted long time ago. It's totally gone. The problem is that it was only in this commit over here. So what I would do is I would do a git checkout. Remember, git checkout normally will check out from the head, which is the very last commit made on this branch. But I'm going to now tell it to actually check out that file from a previous commit that still had that file. And then I'm going to say -- because it's a file. And the file that I want is findfile.py. Okay, so now if I have a look, I can actually see that that file has once again reappeared in my working directory. So if I do a git status, it's now been marked as a new file. It's automatically put it into the staging area. So if I want to keep that, I need to commit it again. So I'll say git commit, and I'll just say recovered findfile.py from, and then I'll just paste in this checksum so we know where it came from. So now if we clear the screen and we do a git log, one line. can see my very last commit now says recovered find file.py, and my working directory is once again clean. Okay, so the next type of undo we can make is we can revert an entire commit. So let's say I no longer like the idea of changing the author to Joe Soap. I want to undo that. So I can revert that commit. So I'll just say git revert, and I'll put the commit that I want to revert. Now revert essentially reverses everything inside of a particular commit. So be careful when you do this. Make sure you check exactly what that commit did before you revert that commit. So let's go ahead and do that. It says revert change author to Joe Soap in guest.py and config.py. So remember, it used to be Ryan as the author. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now it's made, it's reverted that commit. So if we do a git log one line, you can see that after the recover find file, which was my previous head, I now have a revert that's taken place. So let's go and check out those two files. Or maybe we should do a git status first. Okay, working directory is clean. So theoretically, if I look in guests and config, the author should be back to what it was before. So let me just open both those files. So here's there's the author back to Ryan and the config back to Ryan. Okay, so that's reverting an entire commit. And those are a whole lot of changes we can do in terms of undoing things in Git. That's the end of this video.